Jake Morrison stared through the viewport of the Horizon's Hope. Earth looked so small now, just a blue dot getting smaller every second. The ship's engines hummed quietly as they pushed the massive vessel away from humanity's home. In the ship's main hall, thousands of people sat in silence. Some cried. Others held their families close. Nobody spoke much. They all knew what had happened. The Galactic Council had made its decision. Humans had to leave. Ambassador Lisa Chen sat in the front row. Her face showed no emotion, but her hands shook slightly. She had spent 20 years working with alien species. She had learned their languages, studied their cultures, and helped create peace treaties. Now it meant nothing. 5,000 years, she said quietly to the person next to her. Humans have been part of the Galactic Council for 5,000 years. We never started a war. We helped other species. We share our art and music. And they throw us out because we won't give up our defense shields. The man beside her nodded. He understood. The Council feared human technology. They especially feared the new shield systems that could stop any weapon. The Council demanded humans share this technology. When Earth's leaders said no, the Council voted. Humans must leave Council space forever. Captain Paul Williams stood on the bridge of his ship. Through the windows, he could see hundreds of other human vessels. Big cargo ships carried food and supplies. Colony ships held millions of people. Military ships protected them all. Over 10,000 ships made up this sad convoy. "Sir, Council warships are moving into position," reported his officer. Paul nodded. "I see them. They want to make sure we really leave." The alien warships formed lines on both sides of the human fleet. They would escort the humans to the edge of Council space. There, a massive energy barrier would activate. Once humans passed through, they could never return. "How long until we reach the barrier?" Paul asked. 36 hours, sir." Paul thought about his daughter back on Earth. She was only 8 years old. By the time she grew up, she would only know stories about the inner galaxy. She would never see the beautiful crystal cities of Zephan Prime or swim in the purple oceans of Kethra. In the medical bay, Dr. Karen Hill checked her supplies. They had enough medicine for 5 years. After that, they would need to make their own. She wondered what diseases they might find in unexplored space. What if people got sick and she couldn't help them? "We'll figure it out," she told herself. Humans always figure it out. The hours passed slowly. People began to talk more. They made plans. They discussed what might wait for them beyond the barrier. Some feared they would find empty space and die slowly. Others hoped for new worlds full of resources. Young Joey Martin, only 15 years old, worked with the ship's computers. He was already one of the best programmers in the fleet. "Mom, I've been thinking," he said. "The Council says nobody lives past the barrier. But how do they know? They've never explored out there." His mother smiled sadly. "Maybe you're right, Joey. Maybe we'll find something amazing." As the convoy approached the barrier, people gathered at the viewports. The energy field stretched across space like a giant wall made of light. Purple and gold colors swirled and twisted. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Captain Paul Williams addressed all the ships. "This is the hope. We're about to cross into unknown space. Remember why we're here. Remember who we are. We are humans. We survived ice ages. We cured diseases. We reached the stars. We will survive this too." The first ships entered the barrier. The energy field sparkled and flashed as they passed through. One by one, the human vessels left Council space behind. When the last ship crossed, the barrier grew brighter. The way back was now closed forever. Jake Morrison took one last look at the stars he knew. Then he turned away. It was time to face the unknown. Humanity's new chapter was beginning. 20 years had passed since humans crossed the barrier. The fleet had spread out, searching for new homes. Many ships found planets with air to breathe and water to drink. Small colonies grew on these worlds. Life was hard but possible. Dr. Amy Foster worked on the research vessel Pioneer. She studied space readings every day, looking for anything unusual. Most days brought nothing new. Empty space, distant stars, and cold rocks floating in the darkness. "Commander Taylor, you should see this," Amy called from her workstation. Then Taylor walked over. He had led the Pioneer's crew for 5 years. His job was to find resources and safe places for human colonies. "What is it, Amy?" "I'm detecting artificial structures. Big ones. Bigger than anything the Council ever built." Ben looked at the screen. The sensors showed massive objects orbiting a distant star. They were clearly not natural. Someone had built them. But who? "How old are these structures?" Ben asked. Amy checked her data again. "Based on metal decay and radiation patterns, I'd say at least 50,000 years. Maybe older." The Pioneer changed course. 2 days later, they arrived at the system. What they found amazed everyone on board. Giant rings circled 3 planets. Huge stations floated in space. Strange towers rose from moon surfaces. "Look at the design," said engineer Matt Rodriguez. "These builders understood physics in ways we don't. The math required for these structures is incredible." The crew decided to explore the nearest station. It looked like a giant crystal flower floating in space. As their shuttle approached, lights began to appear on the station's surface. "It's responding to us," Matt said. "After 50,000 years, it still has power." They docked at what looked like an entrance. Inside, the walls glowed with soft blue light. The air was perfect for humans. Everything felt welcoming, as if the station wanted visitors. In the center of the main chamber, they found a console. Strange symbols covered its surface. When Matt touched it, the symbols changed to English. "Welcome, younger species. If you can read this, you have potential." The message continued. The builders called themselves the architects. They had explored the entire galaxy long ago. They had watched younger species grow and learn. Then they had moved beyond physical existence, leaving their technology behind. "Why?" Amy asked aloud. The console seemed to hear her. New words appeared. For those who might need it. For those who could understand it. For those who were ready. Over the next weeks, the crew learned to use the station's systems. Each discovery led to more questions. The architects had mastered energy in ways humans never imagined. They could fold space, create matter from energy, and communicate across any distance instantly. Matt spent days studying a small device. When he finally activated it, knowledge flowed into his mind. Not words or pictures, but pure understanding. He suddenly knew how to build things he couldn't have imagined before. "This is a teaching tool," he explained to the others. "The architects left instructions for everything. We just need to learn how to access it." News of the discovery spread through the human colonies. More ships arrived to study the structures. Scientists worked day and night to understand the technology. Captain Sarah Park commanded the colony ship New Haven. She watched as her engineers tested a new engine design based on architect knowledge. "If this works, we can travel between stars in days instead of months." The test succeeded. The ship jumped across light years in moments. Sarah smiled. "The Council banished us to keep us weak. Instead, they sent us to the greatest classroom in the galaxy." Back at the station, Amy made another discovery. The architects had left a map. It showed thousands of their structures scattered across the outer galaxy. Each one held different knowledge. They prepared all of this, she realized. They knew someone would come here eventually. They wanted to help whoever found it. Ben Taylor stood at the station's main viewport, looking at the stars. The exile that had seemed like punishment now felt like opportunity. Humanity had found teachers greater than any in Council space. "We're not alone," he said. "We never were." 100 years had passed since humans found the architect stations. The change in human society was beyond anything people could have imagined. Cities floated in space. Ships traveled faster than light. Humans lived longer and healthier lives. Governor Katie Morgan stood on the observation deck of New Phoenix Station. Below her, the planet Terra Nova spread out like a green and blue jewel. When humans first arrived here, it had been a dead rock. Now forests grew and oceans sparkled under the sun. "The transformation is complete," she said to Admiral Steve Harrison. "We turned a lifeless world into paradise in just 50 years." Steve nodded. "The architect terraforming technology is amazing. We can make any planet livable now." Around Terra Nova, shipyards worked day and night. Each new vessel used both human creativity and architect knowledge. The ships could travel between stars in days. Their shields could stop any attack. Their computers could think almost like living beings. Dr. Alice Cooper led the science team studying architect biology labs. The ancient species had found ways to cure every disease, heal any injury, and extend life far beyond normal limits. "We're not just using their technology," Alice explained to her team. "We're improving it. Humans have something the architects liked. We never stopped trying new ideas." The population had grown too. Free from council restrictions, human families had more children. Better medical care meant people lived 300 years or more. The scattered colonies had become a true civilization. On the industrial world of New Detroit, factories produced materials that shouldn't exist. They turned energy into matter using architect patterns. Engineer Tony Barnes watched as his machines created metal stronger than anything known before. "The council always said we were too ambitious," he told his assistant. "They were right. We are ambitious, and now we have the tools to match our dreams." But the biggest change was in how humans thought. The architect learning devices didn't just teach facts. They expanded minds. Children grew up understanding the universe in ways their parents never could. Young scientist Emma Chen, great-granddaughter of the old ambassador, worked with quantum computers. At just 30 years old, she understood physics better than Earth's best scientists from a century ago. "Space and time aren't barriers anymore," she explained to visitors. "The architects showed us how to step around them." The military hadn't been forgotten. Admiral Rick Jones commanded fleets that could have destroyed the entire Council Navy. But humans didn't think about revenge. They were too busy building and exploring. "We're stronger than we ever imagined," Rick told his officers. "But strength means responsibility. We protect what we've built." Deep in space, hidden stations watched the border. The Council's barrier still glowed, keeping humans out of the inner galaxy. But human sensors could see through it now. They watched Council space without being detected. Intelligence officer Diane Gray studied the data. "The Council hasn't changed much. Same ships, same technology. They're stuck in the past while we race into the future." But some humans worried. Should they reveal themselves? Should they share what they'd learned? The debate continued in the colonial parliament. President Mark Edwards addressed the assembly. "We're not the species they vanished. We've grown beyond their understanding. The question is, what do we do with our power?" Some wanted to break the barrier and return. Others preferred to stay hidden and keep growing. A few suggested helping other banished species. Meanwhile, explorer ships pushed deeper into unknown space. Captain Nina Rodriguez commanded the frontier vessel Starseeker. Her crew had found something troubling near the galactic edge. "Unknown energy signatures," her sensor officer reported. "Something big is moving out there. Something that doesn't match any known species." Nina frowned. The architects had warned about threats from beyond the galaxy. Their technology included weapons for enemies that hadn't appeared yet. Perhaps humans would need those weapons after all. Back on Terra Nova, children played in parks while their parents worked in floating cities. The exile had become a gift, but the universe still held mysteries, and humanity was learning that great power brought great challenges. The transformation was complete, but the real test was still to come. 300 years had passed since the exile began. The human empire now stretched across thousands of star systems. But to the rest of the galaxy, the outer rim remained empty and lifeless. Humans had become masters of hiding. Commander Jack Phillips sat in his stealth ship near the Council barrier. His job was simple but important: watch the border and stay invisible. The ship used architect cloaking technology that made it completely undetectable. "Report," Jack said to his tactical officer, Emma White. "Council patrols following standard patterns. No sign they've detected any of our installations." Jack smiled. The Council still used the same patrol routes they had 3 centuries ago. Nothing in their behavior suggested they knew about humanity's growth. The secret was quantum cloaking. Humans had improved on architect designs to hide entire star systems. Special fields bent space itself, making planets and stations invisible to any sensor. Behind these hidden walls, human civilization flourished. Cities covered hundreds of worlds. Space habitats held billions of people. Research stations pushed the boundaries of science every day. On the hidden world of Sanctuary, the capital of human space, President David Kim met with his council. Maps showed the true extent of human territory, a web of colonies spreading through the outer galaxy. "Our population has reached 5 trillion, reported Director Susan Adams. "We control more territory than the entire council combined." But remaining hidden required careful planning. Ships traveled through quantum tunnels that left no trace. Communications used encrypted dimensions that couldn't be intercepted. Even waste heat from cities was redirected into pocket universes. Chief Scientist Oliver Chen explained their latest breakthrough. "We've learned to create pocket realities, small universes where we can build without limit. The Council could scan our space for 1,000,000 years and find nothing." The younger generation knew only this hidden empire. They grew up with technology that seemed like magic. Many had never seen a council species except in history files. 16-year-old Maria Torres attended the Academy on Learning Station 7. She studied subjects that didn't exist when humans lived in council space: reality engineering, dimensional mathematics, consciousness transfer. "Why do we hide?" she asked her teacher, Professor Alan White. "We're stronger than them now." Alan had been born during the exile. He understood both views. Some say we hide from wisdom. Others say from fear. The truth is probably both. Deep beneath the surface of Fortress Prime, military commanders planned for every possibility. General Patricia Moore oversaw defenses that could stop any invasion. "If the Council ever discovers us, we need to be ready," she told her staff. Not for conquest, but for protection. The weapons they had developed went beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Devices that could collapse stars, shields that existed in multiple dimensions, fleets that could appear anywhere instantly. But most humans focused on exploration and growth. Captain Luis Garcia commanded the deep survey ship Horizon Jumper. His mission took him to the galaxy's edge and beyond. "We've mapped regions the Council thinks are empty," he reported. "Found species they don't know exist. Made allies they've never imagined." Some of these allies were other banished races. Humans had found several species exiled by the Council over the millennia. They shared technology and resources, building a hidden alliance. Ambassador Kelly Johnson worked with the Xenethi, insect-like beings banished 1,000 years ago. "They're brilliant engineers," she noted. "Together, we're achieving things neither species could alone." The hidden empire had developed its own culture too. Art that played with dimensions, music that resonated across space, literature that explored ideas beyond old human imagination. Yet the question remained: how long should they hide? Some colonies wanted to reveal themselves. Others preferred eternal secrecy. The debate shaped human politics. 9-year-old Tommy Park played in his family's garden dome. Above him, stars shone through the atmospheric shield. He didn't know that those stars were hidden from the rest of the galaxy. To him, this secret empire was just home. The hidden growth continued. Each year brought new advances, new discoveries, new capabilities. Humanity had become something the Council couldn't imagine. But they remained in shadow, waiting for the right moment to step into the light. The emergency signal broke through dimensional barriers. It used frequencies humans hadn't heard since they were banished. The message came from deep inside Council space, filled with desperation and fear. Ambassador Daniel Ross stood in the command center of Haven Prime. His job was to monitor all communications from Council territory. Usually he heard nothing important. Today was different. "President Hughes, you need to hear this," Daniel said. President Samantha Hughes entered the room. She was the great-great-granddaughter of Earth's last leader before exile. Her family had guided humanity through its hidden growth. The message played. A council admiral spoke in the universal trade language. "To any who can hear this, we face extinction. Unknown invaders have entered our galaxy. They destroy everything. Our weapons cannot stop them. Our shields mean nothing. If anyone receives this, please, help us." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The council that had banished humanity now begged for rescue from anyone who might listen. "Show me the tactical display," Samantha ordered. The main screen lit up. It showed council space in real time. Red markers indicated destroyed worlds. Dozens of them. The invasion had started at the galactic edge and moved inward like a plague. General Ryan Mitchell analyzed the data. The invaders appeared 6 months ago. They've already destroyed 47 inhabited systems. At this rate, the entire council will fall within a year. "What are they?" Samantha asked. "Energy beings," answered Dr. Helen Park, the lead scientist. "Pure energy creatures that consume matter. They feed on planets, stars, even space stations. Physical weapons can't touch them." The Leadership Council gathered for an emergency meeting. The debate began immediately. "Let them fall," said Councillor James Murphy. "They banished us. They feared our power. Now they pay the price." "But what about the innocent species?" argued Councillor Maria Santos. "Billions of beings who had no part in our exile. Children who weren't even born when we were cast out." Admiral Catherine Fisher presented the military view. "If these invaders consume the council, they won't stop there. They'll come for us next. Better to fight them now, while we have allies." The moral arguments continued through the night. Some remembered the pain of exile. Others thought about the future. What kind of species did humans want to be? Young advisor Peter Chung, only 50 years old, spoke up. "We have power beyond imagination. If we don't use it to help others, what's the point of having it?" Citizens across human space watched the debate. On colony worlds, in space stations, aboard ships, everyone had opinions. The decision would define humanity's character forever. Rebecca Allen, a teacher on New Canada, talked with her students. "What do you think we should do?" 12-year-old Sophie raised her hand. "Heroes help people, even people who were mean to them." The child's simple words spread through the networks. Sometimes, the youngest voices carried the clearest truth. After 3 days of debate, President Hughes called for a vote. The decision was close but clear. Humanity would return to council space. They would save their former captors. "We are better than our pain," Samantha announced. "We are stronger than our anger. We will help them because it's right." The military began preparations. Ships that had hidden for centuries powered up their engines. Weapons designed to fight unknown threats were loaded. Soldiers who had never seen real combat prepared for war. Commander Jake Phillips, descendant of the Jake Morrison who had watched Earth disappear, received new orders. His stealth fleet would scout the enemy first. "The barrier won't stop us now," he told his crew. "Our technology surpasses anything the Council imagined. We go through like it's not even there." Dr. Nina Cooper worked with the science teams. They'd modified weapons to fight energy beings. The architects had left clues about such creatures. Now humans would test those ancient defenses. As the fleet gathered, a message went out to all human worlds. "We return not as conquerors, but as saviors. The galaxy will see who we truly are." The exile was about to end in a way no one had predicted. The Council barrier meant nothing to human ships now. They passed through the energy field like walking through mist. 1,000 vessels appeared in the heart of Council space, their arrival sending shock waves through every monitoring station. Admiral Michelle Carter commanded the human fleet from the Bridge of the Redemption. The massive ship carried weapons that could reshape reality itself. Around her, hundreds of other vessels took positions. All Council vessels. This is Earth Fleet Command, Michelle announced on open channels. We're here to help. The response was chaos. Council ships scattered in panic. Some thought humans had come for revenge. Others couldn't believe their sensors. The banished species had returned with technology beyond comprehension. On the Council capital world, Supreme Leader Zix Theta stared at the tactical displays. The Vorthan had led the Council for 200 years. He remembered when humans were exiled. How is this possible? He asked his advisors. They were primitive. They could barely defend themselves. Before anyone could answer, the energy invaders struck again. A wave of creatures made of pure power swept toward the Council fleet. Ships dissolved into atoms as the beings fed. Then the human ships engaged. Captain John Baker commanded the destroyer Storm Rider. Quantum weapons online. Target the lead energy mass. Beams of twisted space-time struck the invaders. The energy beings, untouchable by normal weapons, screamed as reality itself turned against them. They tried to flee but found themselves trapped in dimensional cages. Direct hit, reported the weapons officer. Entity contained in pocket dimension. Across the battle zone, human ships used weapons the Council couldn't understand. Gravity became a blade. Time became a shield. Space folded into traps that held the invaders helpless. Council Admiral Vector watched from his damaged battleship. His fleet had lost 30 ships in minutes. The humans hadn't lost one. My ship is crippled, Vector reported. Requesting assistance. The human cruiser Liberty's Hope moved to help. Captain Janet Miller transported the alien crew to safety before their ship exploded. No questions asked. No demands made. The battle raged across multiple systems. The energy beings had consumed dozens of worlds, but they had never faced weapons like these. Humans used knowledge from the architects, improved by centuries of innovation. Dr. Samuel Wright coordinated the science teams. The entities exist partially in subspace. That's why normal weapons can't touch them. But our dimensional disruptors force them fully into normal space, where they become vulnerable. Finished Admiral Carter. All ships execute Containment Protocol 7. The human fleet moved in perfect coordination. Ships created a web of energy fields that surrounded the remaining invaders. Trapped between dimensions, the entities couldn't escape or feed. On the planet below, billions of beings watched the sky. Council species who had voted to banish humans now saw those same humans saving them. Children pointed at the strange ships with wonder instead of fear. The battle lasted 14 hours. When it ended, the invasion was over. The energy beings were contained or had flowed back to whatever realm spawned them. Council space was safe. In the aftermath, Council leaders gathered on the emergency station. Humans and dozens of alien species met face to face for the first time in centuries. "You saved us," Zix Theta said to President Ashley Thompson. "After we cast you out, after we tried to steal your technology, you still saved us." Ashley had traveled with the fleet for this moment. "Yes, we did, because that's who we choose to be." "But how?" asked another council member. "You were so far behind us in technology." Captain Baker answered. "You gave us 3 centuries to grow without your rules holding us back. You banished us to the richest classroom in the galaxy." The truth began to emerge. Stories of the architects. Tales of hidden colonies. Accounts of scientific breakthroughs beyond imagination. The council realized their greatest fear had come true, but not as they expected. "What happens now?" Vector asked. Ashley looked around the room at the species who had exiled humanity. "Now we start over. But this time, as equals. The battle for the galaxy lasted only 3 weeks. The energy beings returned twice more, each time with larger numbers. But human technology proved unstoppable. The invaders learned to fear the species they had never encountered before. Commander Lisa Park led the final assault near the galactic edge. Her fleet had chased the creatures back to their entry point, a tear in space itself. "Seal the breach," she ordered. "Use the architect protocols." The human ships formed a circle around the dimensional rift. Energy poured from their generators, weaving a barrier that even energy beings couldn't cross. The tear in reality slowly closed, trapping any remaining invaders on their side. "It's done," reported the science officer. "The gateway is sealed permanently." Back in council space, the aftermath brought tremendous change. Worlds that had faced destruction now celebrated survival. Species that had lost hope found themselves rescued by their former victims. Supreme Counselor Vectar called for a complete assembly. Representatives from every council species gathered on the ancient meeting world of Galactic Central. For the first time in 3 centuries, humans walked these halls again. President Ashley Thompson entered the Great Chamber. Behind her came admirals, scientists, and diplomats. They wore simple uniforms, not the elaborate costumes the Council expected from powerful species. "The Galactic Council owes humanity its existence," Vectar announced. "We stand here because you chose mercy over vengeance." The chamber filled with sounds of agreement from 100 different species. Some had voted for humanity's exile. Others had been too afraid to object. All now faced their rescuers. "We offer you full membership again," Vectar continued. "Your old status, restored with honors." Ashley stepped forward. The chamber grew quiet. Everyone waited to hear humanity's demands. What price would they ask for salvation? "We thank you for the offer," Ashley said, "but we must decline." Shocked whispers filled the room. The council had never been rejected before. Ashley raised her hand for silence. "The old system failed. It breeds fear and control. We propose something new. A united galactic alliance. All species equal. All voices heard. All knowledge shared." She gestured to display screens showing the hidden human empire. Gasps echoed as aliens saw the truth. Thousands of human worlds, populations in the trillions, technology beyond imagination. "This is what we built in exile," Ashley explained. "Not for conquest, but for growth. We want to share it with everyone." Ambassador Chen Feng presented the details. Humans would open their universities to all species. Architect technology would be shared freely. Trade routes would connect every world. No more banishments. No more fear of progress. "But why?" asked a Zenturi representative. "You could rule us all." Dr. Robert Mason answered, "Because ruling isn't leading. We learned that from our exile. True strength comes from lifting others up." The debate lasted days. Some council members feared losing power. Others worried about rapid change. But the younger generations of every species pushed for acceptance. They had seen humans save their worlds. They wanted the future being offered. When the vote came, it wasn't close. The Galactic Council dissolved itself. In its place rose the United Galactic Alliance, with humanity as its primary architect. The changes came quickly. Human medical technology ended diseases that had plagued species for millennia. Terraforming systems turned dead worlds into gardens. Ship drives that crossed the galaxy in days opened new frontiers for everyone. Captain Maria Rodriguez commanded one of the first mixed-species exploration vessels. Her crew included beings from 20 different worlds, working together with technology they all shared. "This is what the galaxy should be," she told them. "Not one species ruling others, but all species reaching for the stars together." On Earth, now recolonized and thriving, monuments rose to remember the exile, not as symbols of bitterness, but as reminders of transformation. The banishment meant to weaken humanity had instead forged them into leaders. The victory was complete. not through conquest or revenge, but through the choice to forgive and build something better. The galaxy entered a new age, guided by the species it had once feared most. 5 years had passed since the energy beings were defeated. The galaxy looked nothing like its former self. The United Galactic Alliance had brought peace and progress beyond anyone's dreams. Ambassador Julie Anderson stood before the assembled representatives in the new Unity Hall. The building floated in space, built with shared technology from a dozen species. Humans had designed it, but everyone had contributed. "We gather today to celebrate our 5th anniversary," Julie announced. 5 years ago, fear divided us. Today, hope unites us. The hall filled with appreciation sounds from many different species. Humans had learned them all. Other species had learned human gestures. Understanding had replaced suspicion. On the planet New Geneva, children from 50 different species played together in the parks. Young Tommy Wilson threw a ball to his 4th friend. The insect-like child caught it with 4 arms and laughed in its chittering way. Tommy's grandfather, Jake Morrison, watched from a bench. He was ancient now, kept healthy by medical miracles. He remembered watching Earth shrink away during the exile. "Was it worth it, grandfather?" asked young Nancy Morrison, his pilot granddaughter. "All those years of hiding." Jake watched the mixed group of children. A human girl taught an alien friend to paint. A Centauri boy shared his floating toy with others. No fear, no hatred, just children being children. "Every species needs time to find itself," Jake said. "The Council gave us that gift without meaning to. We just returned the favor." Across the galaxy, the transformation continued. The architect technology, improved by human innovation and shared freely, had solved ancient problems. Worlds that had struggled to feed their people now had abundance. Species that had been dying were saved by medical breakthroughs. Dr. Patricia Kim worked in the Unity Medical Center. Her team included the best healers from every species. Together, they had cured diseases that had existed since before humans reached space. "Another success," she announced, reading her latest report. "The Kelvin plague is gone, completely eliminated." The Kelvins, a peaceful species, had suffered from the genetic disease for 10,000 years. Now their children were born healthy. Such stories repeated across the galaxy daily. In the shipyards of New Singapore, engineers from many species worked side by side. Chief designer Carlos Martinez supervised the construction of the Explorer's Dream, the largest ship ever built. "She'll carry 20,000 beings," he explained to visitors. "Scientists, artists, families, all species together. Her mission is to explore beyond our galaxy." The ship represented the new spirit. Not one species venturing alone, but all species reaching further together. The crew selection included beings from every Alliance world. Education had transformed too. The Unity University system connected every inhabited planet. Students could learn from the greatest minds of any species. A human child might study mathematics with a Centauri master, while alien children learned human music and art. Professor Ellen Foster taught mixed classes about history. "We don't hide from our past," she told her students. "The exile happened. The fear was real. But look what grew from that difficult soil." Military forces still existed but served new purposes. Admiral Paul Grant commanded the Alliance Protection Fleet. Their job was to help worlds in crisis, fight natural disasters, and explore dangerous regions. "We're gardeners now, not warriors," Paul explained. "We protect growth instead of destroying enemies." Some problems remained. Old prejudices died slowly. Some species struggled with rapid change. But the Alliance faced these challenges together, with patience and understanding. President Roger Davis of Earth spoke at the anniversary celebration. Earth had become just one world among many, no longer humanity's only home. "We were banished as primitives," he said. "We return as equals. We were feared for our ambition. Now we're trusted for our wisdom." The future spread before them like an infinite ocean of stars. new galaxies to explore, new species to meet, new wonders to discover. The empire no one saw coming had become the alliance everyone needed. As the ceremony ended, beings of all species looked up at the stars. The galaxy was united. The new era had truly begun, and in the vast cosmos beyond, endless possibilities waited for those brave enough to seek them together.